Some people don't explain when they disappear. They don't post. They don't text back. They just go quiet. And if you've ever done that, you know it wasn't random. It can feel like something is breaking. Or maybe something is finally waking up. I used to be everywhere, posting, sharing, replying, showing up. It felt like that's what you're supposed to do. Stay visible, stay connected, stay relevant. And honestly, it worked. I had connections, a lot of them. People knew my name. There were conversations, opportunities, invitations. At the time, I believed something very simple. The more people you know, the more doors will open. And when you're younger, that belief feels almost obvious because it looks true. You meet someone, something good might happen. You know more people leads to more chances. It feels like building a network, but really, you're building dependence. And then something started to change. At first, it didn't feel like a big deal. Just small things, scrolling through posts, seeing people constantly proving something, showing success, showing happiness, showing progress, but never showing doubt, never showing confusion. And slowly, I started to notice something uncomfortable. It didn't feel real. Not just them. Me too. Because every time I posted something, it wasn't the full picture. It was the better version, the version that fits, the version that gets approval. And without realizing it, I started editing myself. Not just online, in real life too. But the bigger shift didn't come from social media. It came from how I started seeing relationships. When I was younger, I thought, knowing more people means more opportunities. But over time, I noticed something different. The people who were actually successful, the ones doing really well, they weren't relying on people below them. They weren't asking around. They weren't chasing connections. They were looking upward, always upward. They connect with people above them, and those people connect even higher. It's like a ladder that never stops. And suddenly, something clicked. If you're always depending on people around your level, you're not really moving forward. You're just circulating. Same level, same conversations, same limitations. And that realization quietly changed everything. Because I started to see something else in myself. I was becoming comfortable asking, maybe this person can help. Maybe that connection will open something. It didn't feel wrong at the time. It felt smart. But the truth is, most of the time, nothing really happened. And even when something did, it wasn't sustainable because it wasn't built for me. It was borrowed, and borrowed things don't last. At the same time, something deeper was happening inside. I didn't feel like myself anymore. Not fully. Because when you constantly show only the good side, your brain starts to split your identity. There's the version people see, and then there's you. And the more those two versions drift apart, the heavier it feels. You start to hesitate before speaking, before posting, before even being honest, because now you're maintaining an image, and maintaining something constantly is exhausting. Your brain wasn't built to perform all the time. It was built for safety, for truth, for coherence. And when those things are missing, you feel it, even if you can't explain it. This is often where people begin to step back, not suddenly, but quietly. Less posts, less replies, less presence. From the outside, it looks like they're fading, but from the inside, it can feel like they're trying to protect something. Because when your brain is overloaded with noise, with expectations, with performance, it starts looking for relief. And one of the fastest ways to create that relief is distance. Distance from people, distance from validation, distance from the version of yourself that isn't real. It's not always weakness. Sometimes, it's a way the mind tries to regulate itself. So I started stepping back, not dramatically, just less. Less sharing, less engaging, less explaining. Some people noticed, some didn't. And honestly, that told me everything I needed to know, because the relationships that felt important before started to feel lighter, not deeper, just thinner. And I began to see something clearly. Not all connections are meaningful. Some are just available. And availability is not the same as value. I think this is something you don't fully understand when you're younger. Because when you're young, you're expanding. You want more people, more chances, more recognition. But as you grow older, your brain starts shifting. You don't want more, you want clarity. You want fewer things, but real ones. And biologically, it makes sense. Your brain may start becoming more selective, more protective of energy, more aware of what actually matters. And suddenly, the noise becomes unbearable, not because it changed, but because you did. And in that quiet, something unexpected happens. You start hearing yourself again, your real thoughts, your real preferences, your real pace. Without constant input, your mind resets. And for the first time in a long time, you're not reacting, you're choosing. And that's when I realized something simple. I don't need to be everywhere to go somewhere. I don't need constant connection to create opportunity. And most importantly, I don't need to perform to be enough. At first, it feels like loss. You lose visibility, you lose attention, you lose that small sense of importance. And yeah, it's uncomfortable because your brain got used to that reward. The likes, the responses, the feeling of being seen. But over time, something replaces it. Not excitement, not validation, but peace. A quiet kind of confidence, the kind that doesn't need to be shown. And once you feel that, it's hard to go back. Now, I work more than before, but it feels different. There's no pressure to show it, no need to prove it, no waiting for feedback. Just focus and depth and real progress. Because when your energy isn't scattered, it compounds. And when your identity isn't split, it stabilizes. You stop chasing attention and start building something real. So if someone disappears, maybe don't assume they're lost. Maybe they finally stopped pretending. Maybe they got tired of being seen, but not being real. Because sometimes disappearing isn't really about leaving the world. It's about coming back to yourself, quietly, honestly, and finally, completely.